Several top House Democrats reportedly calling on President Biden to drop out of the 2024 race during a call held by Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries yesterday. Judiciary Committee Ranking Member Jerry Nadler, Veteran Affairs Ranking Member Mark Takano, Administration Ranking Member Joe Morrell, and Armed Services Ranking Member Adam Smith, all privately calling for Biden to step aside. So far, 5 House Democrats have publicly called on Biden to drop out. Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna joining Maria yesterday, suggesting that some Democrats may want Biden off the ticket so badly they may push for the audio tapes of Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur to be released.
So what you're saying is you've got these 25 Democrats who are pushing Joe Biden to drop out of the race, and you think that as a message that he needs to drop out, they're going to side with Republicans over the release of these tapes.
I think it's possible, and I think that's why you're seeing the pressure campaign launched over the weekend with Hakeem Jeffries calling that call. They definitely tried to squelch the dissent over the weekend, and it's not really working. Democrats are still upset.
Joining me now, Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. He's a member of the House Armed Services, Small Business, and Agriculture Committees. Congressman, do we need to hear the Hur tapes? Is now the time?
Sure, we absolutely need to hear these tapes. We don't know what's been edited. We don't know the truth on these Hur tapes. You know, Hur came out and said after this deposition of the president that, look, this is an old man. They could never get a conviction if they brought this to trial. We need to hear for ourselves the gaffes, the stumbles, the pauses, to see what is going on with the President of the United States. And I know that on Wednesday, Anna Paulina Luna is going to drop this privilege resolution, and we will vote on this as a body. We have the Speaker on our side. This is not an attempt to send out the Sergeant of Arms to go arrest Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, until he complies with the subpoena. This is merely going to fine him $10,000 a day until he hands over those tapes.
A Philadelphia radio station firing a host who revealed she only asked President Biden questions that his campaign gave her for his post-debate interview. And now a second radio host from Wisconsin admitting to also getting questions from Biden's team ahead of their post-debate interview with Biden as well. All of this coming as a new opinion piece in the Washington Times says, quote, media concealed Biden's cognitive decline because they hate Trump. Listen to this, though. Senator Roger Marshall told me in the last hour, when I asked him about reports that a Parkinson's specialist had visited the White House in recent months, listen to what he said.
My sources tell me that a neurologist, a specialist in Parkinson's, has been in the White House 10 times over the past year. Let me tell you what, these types of doctors are so rare, they're not making house calls for just anybody. So 10 times there, when I get together with groups of physicians and they ask me what's going on, Parkinson's disease is at the top of the differential diagnosis. There's lots of testing, but if you look at the way he shuffles, the way he swings his arms, the way he freezes at times, he has bradykinesia at times. Last fall, he was walking heel to toe. Now he's putting his toes down first when he walks. All these are consistent with Parkinson's. So yes, Americans deserve to know.
And to clarify, that senator, he is a physician. Your thoughts?
Well, look, we know that for some time this president has been a taco shell of a president, stuffed with progressive pork since 2020. He campaigned from a basement, and at that time, the media was able to hide it and conceal it. They were part of the cover-up, the collusion of this election of this president, and have been for so many years now. This has got to stop. And now the focus is on, they cannot hide the truth any longer. This is a national security issue, and we've got to start treating it as such.
You know, President Biden, speaking of national security, President Biden's back on the world stage tomorrow. The U.S. is hosting the NATO summit in D.C. Biden is expected to hold a solo press conference during the summit. We understand it's going to be Thursday. Don't know if he's going to get the question in advance. Things apparently are changing at the White House. But the NATO Secretary General did refuse to answer questions about Biden's mental fitness when asked. Watch.
Are there concerns or not among NATO leaders?
But if I started to comment on issues like that, then suddenly NATO, I will be part of domestic debate.
Well, it'd be easy to just say no or yes.
But I think it's important for NATO to stay out of that kind of domestic discussion.
Okay, so that was a serious non-answer, Congressman. But I want to add to this that after the G7 and then after the debate, then reports come out that the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, was shocked at the physical and mental condition of Joe Biden at the G7. Your reaction?
Well, look, they've known all along. They have seen the gradual deterioration, sometimes rapid deterioration of the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world. And so when coming into a host nation like the United States, NATO leaders, of course, are not going to want to get into this because it is going to determine, I think, the future of the next president of the United States, or at least the nominee on the Democrat side. We know that President Trump's going to regain the White House. But I understand them not wanting to wade into it. But they know. They have seen firsthand him being led around, his incoherence on the world stage. And believe me, that they are just as scared, because NATO has to have the power to resist Russia, China, Iran, all these countries that are now forming an axis of evil to take down America. And they are fearful as well.
Congressman Mark Alford, it is going to be a very busy and crucial week in Washington this week as Congress is back in session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.